Hey guys, welcome back to the second time lucky mining channel. Can you believe it? Another month is done and dusted and we are officially in September. As always, in this video, what we are going to have a look at is the GPU mining statistic for the month that has passed. Now, the last month has been an interesting month. If you're in the GPU mining space, all of the drama around Pyron, it's been interesting to follow what has happened and how they forked and how that worked and didn't work and how they are now going back. On top of that, Bitcoin really has been boring the last couple of months. It's really been range bound, anything between, I don't know, 62 and 58. Yes, we did see that, let's call it a flash crash, a little bit lower, closer to the lower 50s, if not dipping slightly below it. But other than that, it has been pretty boring. Now, besides it being boring, what are we going to have a look at in the GPU mining space? As always, we are going to have a look at what is the most popular coin people are mining. We are going to have a look at what is the market share between AMD and Nvidia for GPU mining. We're going to have a look at what is the most popular GPU still in Nvidia side. And then subsequently, we are going to have a look at the AMD side. And then lastly, we are going to have a look at what is the most popular mining software that people are using. Now, let's get the disclaimers out of the way. As always, what we are going to do is have a look at the mining OS statistics, but that is not perfect. And why is it not perfect? Well, there are a lot of people using something else than Hive OS out there. So there are still people, can you believe it, using Windows. There are still people using other Linux-based operating systems out there. So it is not the only data point out there, but what we are going to have a look at to counteract that is, I'm not really interested necessarily in the raw number to say 13.9% and it was last month 14%. I'm really interested in spotting the trends, and that's really what I've been looking at. And we are comparing it against what was it last month, and we'll have a couple of graphs that we can spot trends, so we can see when people are jumping on something and when people are jumping off something, or what people are gravitating to. So it's more, for me at least, why I like doing it, to look at the trends to see sort of what people are doing. Maybe I can have a competitive advantage, maybe I can get more yield, what have you. That's really why I look at these statistics. Now, enough of me talking about it. Let's jump on the computer and have a look at the statistics.
Okay, so here we are on the computer. Now, the first stat that we are going to have a look at is the most popular coins. And as you can see, I've got the HiveOS statistics page open, and I'll leave a link in the video description in case you wanted to go and have a look for yourself, because this does change on the daily basis. Now, looking at the most popular coins, it's Cubic, followed by Zealous, Monero, then Zephyr, Bitcoin, then Raven, Dynex, and Zilliqa, followed by Clore. So that is pretty interesting to see these sets of coins. Now, having a look at the trends, and I'll go back to my spreadsheet here, and as you've been seeing, I've been capturing this thing since April 2022, so it's been a while, but this helps me identify the trends here. And looking at it, I don't really see anything super interesting. What I can probably see here is there's a bunch of people that dropped off Pyron. So you can see here, Pyron a couple of months ago was around the 6.4, and it's been dwindling down since, and it's now at the lowest level. Also, there was a ton of hash rate on Pyron literally just before they did the fork. So there's obviously something going on. I'm not sure if it's the entity or what has happened, but the hash rate sort of doubled. Me personally, you know, I've liked mining Pyron, not because I necessarily believe in the chain, but it was something that I mined together with Ergo. So it was just like another coin to just make the most out of my GPU. However, I can't really do that anymore. It's not worth it. Never mind all of the shenanigans that's come on with the 10 BPS and how they forked and how some of the exchanges were still on the old fork. Anyway, that's the Pyron drama. Let me just put that to the side. Now, looking at the other interesting thing here, Salvium has gone down this month. So all of the hype around that CPU coin has sort of died down a little bit. I don't do a lot of CPU content, so have a look at Rabbit Mining if you're more interested. But I did see a jump in Zealous. Now, having a look at the little app that I built to sort of see it more graphed, what I wanted to have a look at is Zealous and Pyron. So I'm just going to jump to my local app here, And if I have a look at coins and then flick over to Zealous, you can sort of see what has happened. It sort of peaked in July around the 14th, sort of dwindled down to about, let's say, the middle of August. And since then saw a little bit of a bump. Now, subsequently, let me flick over to Pyron so you can sort of see what that looks like. It's been dwindling down for the longest time. Then it had a little spike more or less at the same time. And then took a drastic dump here. And why this graph looks like that is the chain was down for, well, I say the chain was down. It looked like some chain was up. I'm not sure what was up and what wasn't, but that's sort of what has happened with Pyron. Okay, so next up, let's look at the market share. So I'm going to jump back to HiveOS and scroll a little bit further down. You can see the market share is now 79.21. So again, a lot of Nvidia GPUs compared to AMD GPUs. And again, looking at the trend, if I just scroll a little bit further down, that trend has been going one direction for the longest time. So it's almost at 80-20. But Nvidia, people are definitely favoring Nvidia GPUs compared to AMD GPUs. I say this most months, I can see why that is a thing. It's just easier to overclock, more flexibility on the Nvidia side. On top of that, the new 7000, I say new, it's almost going to be replaced soon, but the 7000 series AMD GPUs are really not that great to mine with. I've got both a 7900 XTX and a 7900 XT. Not the best overclockers and bang for buck, I would dare to say. And again, just looking at it in terms of GPU brands here, if I have a look at AMD, it's just been going down, whereas Nvidia is just going up. So it looks like it's up only. Now, having a look at the most popular GPUs and looking at it from Nvidia's point of view, I'm just going to flick back to HiveOS and scroll a little bit up. No surprise here, the most popular GPU, the 3070, still super efficient, still great overclocker. Fairly cheap if you buy it secondhand, at least in my opinion. So it makes total sense why that's at the top. The CMP30HXs, I don't have any one of these, so I'd love to try and test that. 3060 Ti's, again, very close to 3070, makes total sense. CMP50HXs, again, I don't like these cards that much, but I think it's glorified 1080 Ti's or 1080s. It's sort of around there. Looking at it then, 3080, 1660 Supers makes sense to me. Laptop cards, I don't know who's got these. The second-hand resale value must be bad on these. Again, the first 40 series card is the 4060 Ti, the 8GB model. So that's quite interesting spotting that there. Now, having a look at the trends here, if I just flick back to my spreadsheet, there isn't really anything interesting here. The 3070 market share is sort of slightly up, but there's not any big movers where I can say, oh, this is what's happening. So it's pretty boring in terms of what GPU people are using. We should see a shakeup in the next couple of months as soon as the new 50 series launches from Nvidia and then the new AMD series. AMD series is going to be slightly interesting this time around because they won't be bringing new GPUs competing at the high end, but it should be interesting to see sort of how they compare in the mid-market. Okay, so looking at the AMD GPU, so let me just flick to HiveOS, and can you believe it? The GOAT, the RX 580, again at the top. Now, I didn't make a video last month, but I did see that this flip happened again. This thing just doesn't die. The RX 580 just wants to be on top. So it's pretty amazing to see a card this old still dominating the AMD GPU chart here. It just shows you how many people bought RX 580s. Anyway, so looking at the tops, obviously the RX 580, followed by the 5700 XT, followed by the 6700 XT. So I've got some of these. Followed by the 6600 non-XT, and then the 6600 XT, and then the 570, the 8GB, and the 4GB. So what we are going to have a look at is the trends next. And again, what you can see here, at least there's a trend that I can see. The 580 sort of bumped up a little bit, dropping by the 5700 XT. So there's definitely people getting either swapping out or getting rid or switching off the 5700 XTs might be Sode's switch off. I think he switched off last month, but anyway, I'm just joking about that. Yeah, that's we can see here sort of what has happened. Most of the gains related to some 5700 XTs that powered off. Now, lastly, let's have a look at the most popular mining software. So I'm going to again flicking back to HiveOS. Custom is still on top here, so that's interesting. That tells me people are mining Cubic or some other new coins here. Normally when you see custom, it's sort of when there is a new coin, and the more established mining software or mining software out there sort of takes some time to incorporate the new algos. Anyway, so it's custom, then followed by XMRig, then Rigel. That's quite interesting here, seeing Rigel at the top. ASIC miner, we're not going to care. Team Red Miner, followed by LOL, and then G Miner, T-Rex, and SRB Miner. Now, having a look at the trends or what sort of has transpired here, what we can clearly see, there's been a drop off in LOL Miner. And I've seen this specifically firsthand. Specifically, again, I'm sort of mining Ergo. So specifically looking at Ergo here, I was using Ergo or LOL Miner when I was mining with containers in Docker, and I now can't mine Ergo anymore with LOL Miner. I did log something on their GitHub, but not that that is a major change here, but I definitely moved some of my GPUs off LOL Miner and onto stuff like G Miner. So me specifically, the swap for that was LOL to G Miner. Small bump here. I'm sure I'm not that bump, but there's obviously LOL Miner is making some changes, or there has been some switches between people using other operating systems here. And again, the big change here is custom. So you can see custom sort of peaked at 22% here in June as soon as I started capturing it. And now it's been dwindling down and it's slightly ticking up again. So that's sort of what people are using to mine these days.
That's it for this video, guys. If you've liked the video, please like the video and maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. If you didn't, please let me know in the comments what you would like me to change. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.